So today we're going to discuss artist development. We're going to talk about a brief history of what it is, where it's currently at, where it's potentially heading into. We're also going to discuss what's the difference between artist development and artist promotion. I think there's obviously a fine line nowadays. It's almost becoming one segment, one offering. All right, so starting with the history of artist development. So an artist development was essentially designed so that a major label, who's obviously an entity that wants to make money, essentially scouts a talent, whether that's a singer, that's a singer-songwriter, even a songwriter, essentially taking a bet on them that if we invest some revenue into them, if we provide them producers or engineers, or if we invest in developing their talent, that essentially that within a couple of years, we'll have either a hit song with them, a hit album, maybe we can get our return on investment with that particular artist. Back in the day, it's also called a demo deal. Obviously, there's different types of demo deals. It could be literally a one-song demo deal, it could be 5 songs, it could be an album. But essentially, from the point of view of the major labels, it was always a risk, right? Because no one guarantees whether an artist can really succeed, if they're going to make money or not. But for the artist, on the other hand, it's essentially a good deal, right? Because you've got someone investing in you, investing their money, their time, their connections, their producers, their engineers and musicians to hopefully develop you as an artist in terms of talent, obviously as a brand and as an artist to make money from. But in summary, an artist development was designed so that they can create stars and that they can eventually monetize and get a return on investment for the business. So what's actually happening in those artist development deals can be very vast. It could be specifically partnering up an artist or a singer with a couple of producers or a couple of musicians to have songwriting sessions, recording sessions. It could be providing the artist some classes or some education to kind of upscale their musical ability. It could be a promotional A&R who wants to focus on branding the artist, to be able to contextualize how they're going to be presented. So there's loads of different things happening. I think it's very vast. So what is an artist development deal? Obviously, it's designed to bring a return on investment for the label and at the same time develop the talent, aka the artist, whether that's upskilling their musical ability or whether that's getting a team to eventually create a brand out of that artist or out of that singer-songwriter. So moving on from the early days of artist development and artist development deals, let's bring it back to today. I think it's evolved so much. Obviously, artist development is not really a term you hear as often. It's almost a lost art. I think what's happening is a lot of major labels don't really have the time and the resource, aka the revenue, to bet on an act in terms of providing them money, providing them connections, if they can't guarantee to the stakeholders, aka the business people investing in the major label in the first place, on an exact return on investment. If a major label is going to invest in an artist, they'd preferably want to know what's the return on investment. Do they already have fans? Are they already selling merch? Are they touring? The artist is essentially now forced to develop themselves, right? We see that everywhere, and I'm sure you as an artist, you're probably developing your project, your sound by yourself. You might have some co-writers with you. You might externally hire a PR company. You might have maybe one of your friends manage you or help you market. You hire a videographer to shoot your video. So it's become very, very independent. The process of artist development has become very independent and it's very led by the artist, and obviously there's pros and cons to that, which we can discuss in the video, but I think that's maybe better for a different video because there's a lot to talk about there. There's a newer term that companies and agencies seem to use nowadays, and they call themselves artist development deals, but essentially they're actually artist promotion deals. And obviously an artist promotion is a completely different thing. It's just on promoting the song, promoting the EP, the album, or the actual artists themselves. And there's no really emphasis on developing the talent, and I think there's a bigger discussion there about an artist development deal should really be all about upskilling the talent in hopes that by developing the talent, whether that's their voice, that's their performing ability, their songwriting ability, aka the songs, that you tend to have more revenue from that artist or from that artist project. You need to think about what are things I can improve on by myself? What are the things that I need help with? I think the most important information there is to be able to be self-aware enough to know that I'm weak at marketing. I need someone to help me out with that. I'm really good with songwriting, but in terms of musicianship, I'm lacking there, so I need someone to record this guitar or this backing vocals. And that's a good start for you to know if you even need an artist development deal, if that comes along in the next couple of years for your project. And then that's going to give you enough context to know if you need artist promotion, for example. So I guess the main benefit of the artist development deal kind of disappearing is that you now control all those aspects as an artist. Now it's more difficult, it's more time consuming, there's more money you have to invest, but at the same time you get 100% freedom, and then you get 100% control. And in the end, revenue is hopefully going to go back to you 100%. So I'll briefly touch on artist promotion companies because there's a lot of them nowadays. I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of artist promotion companies, at least the ones that I've seen, and obviously I'm not going to mention any names on here. But I think the main issue with those companies is that it's very transactional. You know, give us money, we'll get your Spotify numbers up, we'll get you a couple of thousand likes or followers on Instagram. And I've personally spoken to artists who have been a part of those, and there really wasn't much ROI in terms of the money that the artist has put into the company, which they can't do themselves, essentially. Artist promotion agencies aren't necessarily a bad thing. I think it just depends on you. Like I said, it's all about self-awareness. Do I need help with marketing? Do I need help with content creation? Or is that something I can do myself? Is that something I can spend time learning to do or learning to invest in so that I can provide more content to my fans and so on? Either way, you're either going to have to put in time or you're going to spend money. And I think you as an artist, you need to decide, okay, if I don't really have a lot of money, that means I have to put the time. If I don't have a lot of time, then obviously I have to put in money. If I don't have either, well, what's going to happen is that you can still get to your practical career goal, but it's just going to take longer and it's probably going to be more frustrating for you. And again, that goes back to self-awareness. I'm not trying to be negative or pessimistic, but I think it's all about being practical. You want to set practical goals and have a practical plan in how to achieve those goals within the circumstance that you're in. So I'm just going to quickly voice out what artist development is: an upskilling of your talent, whether that's through songs, whether that's your musicianship. So it also gets you an opportunity to collaborate with newer songwriters, with music producers, A&Rs who can help you with your branding, with your marketing, music video directors. It also supports you in collaborating with potential brands, for example. So I'm not going to mention any specific names, but we know of artists who partner up with like maybe a clothing line. So that's something you can potentially get in an artist development deal or just a record deal in general. Some artist development deals, it can also help you with networking, for example. Again, just building that connection for your artist project. It also helps with performance showcases. So every company is going to offer different things. They're going to have their main unique selling points. What you need to understand is what is it that you need right now for your project? How much budget do you have to invest in it? And the more important question is, what can you do yourself now in this moment? And just focus on that for now. And I think the most important thing to understand before you sign any type of deal, any type of agreement, is to understand, is this the right move for me, for my career, for my artist project in this moment now? So I've got 3 questions to ask you and something that you can think about in this video, and that will probably guide you in whether or not you need artist development or you need artist promotion, or what exactly do you need right now. So the first question I'm going to ask is, do you practically feel that your project can compete within similar acts within your niche and genre, or do you feel like it's lacking a particular element? Is the song quality good enough? Is the branding on par? Is the visuals there? Do I need more content? Do I need a music video? Do I need help with paid advertising? I think the best way to answer that is to literally, the second question is your branding and is your visuals up to par? Visuals is more of an obvious one. Is the quality of your image and your music videos, does it look good enough to be promoted? Branding is more of a difficult one because branding can mean so many different things, but essentially, in simple terms, branding is a certain feeling about your project. So when people mention your name, what do people think about? What do people feel? What's the culture the music is trying to create? What's the belief they have about you? What's the belief that you're trying to portray to the audience? And again, that's something that we offer here at Soundprice. Feel free to obviously go to our website if you want to know more. And the final question I have for you is, do you practically feel that your songs and your song quality is up to par in terms of when you're listening to similar songs within your genre? Does it feel good? Does it feel balanced? Is the quality of the mixing there? Is your vocals up to par in terms of the quality of it, in terms of the actual tone of your vocals? So there's a lot of things there, and that's something you have to practically know, because at the end of the day, the fact is it's a competition and there's always a barrier to entry. And I think the more you can focus on improving some of those things, you give your artist project a higher chance of succeeding and obviously monetizing it. But at the same time, obviously balancing it with the fact that it's a creative venture. You should never lose the fact that you're doing this for music, but also it's predominantly a business. So I hope this video has helped. If it has, a simple like will do. If you want to see more videos, obviously please do subscribe. Leave a comment below if there's any particular questions. I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. And thank you for watching the video. Here's to more music and success. Out.